Welcome to the dark future. Welcome to Red Sky City. I'm tormented by gnomes. I'll be your game master today. Joining me, we've got Bren, we've got Necra, we've got... What order are you two in today? Okay. The fantabulous, phenomenal Seltzer, please. And the... Oh man, I had a word that was started with I-N, but then my brain went to incorrigible, and I don't want to do that.
I like incorrigible. That's okay.
Incorrigible passes muster?
Yeah.
All right, the incorrigible Hello Kelly Link. Welcome everybody. You know, in the world of Cyberpunk, it's not really so much good guys and bad guys. It's more just, you know, people living their lives, being various levels of cruel or kind to each other. Yes. All right, on that note. True. All right, well, when we last left our heroes, they busted into a very high society party in order to get some information. Each of them have their own motivation for going there. Most of them were looking for how to access the secret Deep 4 module, a piece of equipment that they extracted from the Hakuto Maru, a ship in the distant... Oh yeah, look at this art, by the way, by our own Seltzer, please. This is our team in the AV on their way to the party. Huge fan. Phenomenal piece. Thank you, production, for throwing that up there. Well, yeah, they went to the party. They were looking for the codes to access Deep 4, which is a mysterious device that they found in the ship out in the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. And then their new arrival, Zara, was there to interrogate Liam Madras, who is a bigwig at Rockland Augmentix, who's been up to all sorts of evil shenanigans. He was not very forthcoming. Especially, well, not especially, but despite the diplomatic approach that Zara took.
Diplomatic is a kind word for that.
I think it's important to, you know, give everybody the benefit of going with their strengths, and Zara is definitely strong.
Oh, you could say that again.
So we ended with everybody fleeing the party amidst utter chaos by grappling from the ledge you were standing on from the penthouse to some sort of, it's not a fire escape when you're 100 stories up, but you know, like a maintenance shaft on the outside, clinging to this star scraper as the howling wind of being that high up just whipped around you. It was a long climb down. You had to evade corporate police, you had to evade security sensors, you had to evade flying vehicles and security drones. It was a lot going on at once, but we're going to go ahead and get everybody back to their homes, back to wherever it is that they rest their head. We're going to give each of you some time to go about your business, work on your day jobs, heal back up. We're going to give each of you 1 week of downtime here. So if you want to hustle, then you can go ahead and start making some money. If you've been beat up, you're probably going to want to spend that time healing instead. And you might have some other business that you want to attend to. So let's go ahead and start with Jerax. What would you do with a week of downtime between your last adventure and your next one?
Well, Jerax isn't injured, so I don't think he'd be resting, but he definitely overheard a few bits and pieces at the party between Carlisle and Liam, I think his name was. And it was enough to be concerning, because I can't quite remember the exact words, but a general impression I think that Jerax got was that they were hunting for him. Carlisle was working with Liam, who had made a lot of his money and business off of what he thinks is technology that Jerax has smuggled in, maybe, and stolen, possibly. So there's some sort of connection there, but also the fact that I think they said at some point search the origin, which scares him a little bit, that they may have at least compromised their base almost. So the first thing I think Jerax would do is call up Jim Fingers, who's like one of the best fixers that he knows, and probably one of the only fixers that he would trust with this, and essentially let him in on a lot of this information and say, you know, he thinks that the area that they were inhabiting, like the base, so to speak, may have been compromised. They may be looking around that area, and also to listen in to see if through any of the channels what's going on exactly, and if they've been confused at all by my acting where I was pretending to be involved with Arasaka.
Well, I can already tell you for free that they were confused. That part worked. The exact degree to which they were confused is up for debate. The game master was certainly confused.
I suppose the intention that Jarex was going for was literally to just inject chaos to make it to basically buy more time until they figured out what exactly was going on. But he figured at least if he threatened at least that Arasaka was working with him, and he already knew that Arasaka was probably working with them in the first place, then they would begin to distrust each other from the inside in, from internally, you know, inside the conspiracy. So maybe he's bought a couple of days, but he basically is asking Jim to check up on that, see if he's heard anything, see if that's actually, you know, bore any fruit from that, and also whether or not they are searching the surrounding areas of the home base.
Okay, I will go ahead and relay that information. We'll see if your trusty fixer comes back with anything useful for you. What else would Jarex do during his downtime? Go back to work, patch some people up?
He would absolutely start working now on one of his main goals, which is figuring out how this encoding works of the mind, basically taking all of the information they've learned, and now he's going to begin to sit down and try and decipher it and figure out, you know, he's trying to piece together this puzzle almost.
All right, so he's going to stand there with the Minority Report screens up, swiping through things, you know.
Yep.
Enhance. All right, good. What is Zara going to do this week? Now, the way that this works, Nekra, is that you can either like just sort of narrate what sort of goals she's up to, what she's pursuing, or if she's just trying to make a buck, like trying to continue with her day job, then you can roll on the hustle table to earn some money. Because every single time you go on one of these missions, you might want more gear. You might want to bring a grapple gun, for example. You might want to bring EMP grenades, stuff like that. You know, useful equipment.
I needed one last time. Thank God for Natalie Smith and
Fewer words
my
were never
giant
said.
purse full of snacks and grappling guns.
the kibble is what I remember the most. All right, so Zara gets a chance to get back to her hiding place, and she actually didn't take surprisingly any damage, I don't think, during that scuffle, which is incredibly impressive. Go Zara. But she's chaotic. She likes the hustle, and she likes to put her nose where it doesn't belong, and she's gonna run this Billy Joe story whether he likes it or not. Do you remember the petrochem guy? Because I sure do, and he's going down. So I go about my business. I go to a couple of different networks. Network 54 is the first stop, of course, and I try to sell them this story about Billy Joe and the petrochem enterprise dropping waste into the waters of Night City.
Okay, so you blackmailed him in order to get into this party on the threat that you would run this story.
Uh-huh.
And then he got you into the party, and now you're gonna run the story.
Uh-huh.
All right, cool. Go ahead and roll 1d6. We'll do a couple of rolls here. A 4. All right. Okay. And roll a composition check. This is to actually do the write-up on the story, the scathing expose. 18. Well, I mean, you are good at what you do. All right, you're going to get an advance for this of 200 eddies.
Aha. I'll take it.
And, but you know what? Before we can resolve that, we actually have to check in with Natalie Smith. Natalie, what are you doing in this week?
Well, I happened to see Zara in the lobby when she came to drop this off, because I have spent the week diligently working at my job. I have a job. So
You say like we don't have jobs.
I have do you guys have jobs?
Not really, no.
You guys get paid?
What?
But I was so excited to see my new friend Zara in the lobby, and she came to sell the story, and so I definitely kind of helped her along to get to the person that she needed to get to, and made sure that person saw how helpful I was, and so I've really just been spending a lot of time around the office. Also, I've been trying to get a sense of if Todd noticed we were at the party or not. Like, he's not, haven't spoken much to him, just trying to get a vibe check. But other than that, yeah, just diligently working and trying to, like, heal Jonah on the side. He had a couple more HP to recover, and we're trying to play it off like he's not hurt at all. I keep like punching him in the arm at lunch, and he's like, "Ma'am."
Ow. All right, I think that if Zara is there to sell this story about a big petrochem exec, what would you do with that in your role as, you're in charge of like securing office supplies and stuff, but there's always something you can do. Would you push it along? Would you help it run its course? Would you let it ride? What are your thoughts?
Well, honestly, I have some concerns with it. So if there's an opportunity to receive it from Zara and deal with it a little bit before we ship it out, I would like to apply the corporate lens to a lot of these observations. But not too much that I would change like a Zara signature story. But, it's more that our benefactor for the party was a helpless observer to the corruption of his employees and was perhaps under duress with some of the, more impotent decisions he decided to make. And so it maybe isn't quite the stinging story she wanted it to be. Maybe not at all, in fact. I don't know. I'm not a very good writer. I'm just Natalie from the mailroom with a pen. you tell me.
Dear God. Okay. Natalie, roll a composition check.
My God. That's anything like my library search score. We might be in business here.
I'm gonna guess you don't have any ranks in that.
My friend, I have no ranks in composition.
Okay. Composition is based on intelligence, so make a flat intelligence score check.
Boy. And I would do that by...
You gotta do it manually. We don't have a button for that on the sheet.
1d10 plus 9.
Mm-hmm. I forgot, you're like a genius.
Intelligence of 9?
Wow. Damn.
One thing that comes up every so often, folks, is that...
Okay, sorry, I thought I hit 1d10 plus G and just... Nope, made it. 16.
Yeah, first roll 20 collapses, and then all of our faces get sucked into the network as it tries to do 1d20 plus G. And does not compute. Error, error. Let me out, let me out.
Oh my God, Ichiro.
Yeah, one side effect, we don't always talk about this, folks, is that when we first made characters, we didn't have the full rule book. So we were sort of hodgepodging it from the Jumpstart kit and the previous edition. That led to some truly weird stuff happening. Like, we were just looking at the XP costs to raise your role abilities, which is super expensive. It's like increasing your core stats, right? It's incredibly expensive. Well, because we weren't aware that everyone was supposed to start out with a rank of 4 in that, Jim Fingers is a rank 8 fixer. That's like 600 points plus.
Yeah, it's very efficient.
Yeah, he should be having meetings with the president.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Joseph's like, why can't I kill them?
It's usually because the gods themselves decide to send down pseudo RNG to ruin my day. All right, so what I'm going to have us do here is I looked up the credibility ability for the media. Roll a d10, Zara. Roll 1d10.
Oh boy.
Uh-oh.
Fun fact, when rolling to see if people buy your story, it's written as a X in 10 chance. So low is good.
Oh.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wait.
So
wouldn't that be 1 in 10 chance?
she had a 4.
10%?
She had a 4 in 10 chance.
Oh.
So I was literally going, okay, from a 1 to a 4 is good. Higher than that is a failure. Just this once.
Ooh.
Yeah. So
Ah.
yeah, the story picks off. Now it does get the final version that comes out of Network 54. I think it showcases Billy Joe as less of a corrupt, evil megalomaniac and more as incompetent. It still is critical, but it softens the direct anti-corporate message just a little bit. On the other hand, this might be some conflict here, Zara, because on the one hand, they definitely tweaked your story to match their agenda. But on the other hand, this story has legs. This is getting out there. People are reading this on the scream sheets in the streets. They're getting upset. They're writing letters. Like, this is Night City, so someone's probably going to blow something up. That's just sort of an inevitable consequence. But yeah, like this is actually picking up. You are getting some success with this story.
Yay.
Equates
If
to
we need an ongoing editor.
There's a little relationship in the making there.
Immediately puts points into composition. So take another 200 eddies, Zara, as this thing starts to pick up. But more importantly,
Woo.
this is not going to make any friends for Billy Joe or for you.
I
He
never
is-
had friends. Why? What? Who needs those, right?
I've always worked alone. All right, awesome. You have a very productive week. Natalie, are you up to anything else? Jonah was slightly injured, so he has enough time if he just takes a couple of days off to recoup all the way back up to full. I've taken care of that. Do you want to roll on the hustle table to just make some money, or is there anything? I know you asked about Todd. We'll get to that.
Yeah, I guess I'll just it's been a pretty standard week for me. I try and lay low after our big events, so.
Okay. Roll 1d6 for the hustle, and then I'm gonna have you roll something to lay low. I'll pick a skill unless you can come up with something to justify it.
I say lay low. I just like greeted Zara in the lobby, like, "Hey, girlfriend!" Like we just had a, and then like kind of like took liberties and hand delivered her stories. So Natalie's idea of laying low is like, I don't know, not pitching things. I don't know. No, she did that. I don't know. Natalie had a work week. There's no other way to describe it.
All right. Give me that d6 roll.
Let's do it.
One.
But rowing low is good here, right?
This table is actually all over the place. The hustle table like doesn't correlate to anything.
Oh.
The story that you run, because you pitched that yourself, you made some edits on it, you sent it up the chain. Actually, moderate amount of success. You get a little bonus. You got 300 eddies.
Ooh.
More than the author got? Sweet.
And along the way, Todd doesn't seem to be paying much attention to you at all right now. He's pretty busy with other things. He's a little distracted. I'd say he's distant, but how would you notice? I guess you can tell he's distant when you don't literally feel his breath on the back of your neck.
Oh my god. I didn't even have to go to HR once this week. That's sweet.
Phenomenal. They're like, we'll just rack it in the file. We'll just add it to the file. All right. Last but not least, the Frizz. You took a beating, and all those fresh programs you downloaded just got massacred. What are
So
you up to
happy.
this week?
Well, since I probably am aware that the article came out, was there any sort of news article about the party that had people being murdered and dropped from skyscrapers and all of that? Any information about that if I do a library search?
Roll. Okay, there's no news coverage on this. Go ahead and roll library search on it.
Oh, 20.
20. Yeah, there was a tragic accident where two maintenance workers in the progress of upgrading the automated cleaning system on the new Starscraper fell to their deaths.
Okay. And there's no mention of a name of Miss or Elizabeth or Frizzle or any
Mm-mm.
variation of. Okay.
No.
Good. So I have a lot of chips of I had cards from a previous game that we played where I took a bunch of information. I have
Mhm.
4 of them. I don't know if you're going to give me anything for them, but they're in my inventory.
No, that's
but-
fine.
Okay. I got 2 folders from our yesterday's
Mhm.
adventure. My dog would like to remind me.
Thank you, dog.
What were in those files?
All right. So first off, to just represent the fact that you're doing stuff with a lot of the corporate secrets that you've been digging up. Give me 3 1d6 rolls.
Okay.
And this is to just represent you doing your streaming, getting bits and donations, selling information on the black market.
Ooh.
All right, so you're gonna pull in 600 eddies just by working a lot of the data that you got. The last piece of information is potentially the most interesting and is in my other folder, so give me a moment. But there was a file literally called Deep 6. Roll, do you have cryptography as a skill?
I do.
Okay, give me a cryptography check.
21.
21.
Holy moly.
Right. Hey,
Ooh,
you
nice.
call in the experts. You want it done right. This stuff is pretty heavily encrypted. This will, again, you walked right into this guy's in charge of corporate counterintelligence, and you walked into his house and his private server. And he there's a company policy about not keeping important files on personal servers that he got an exception for. He registered this as a workplace in order to get out of that. So a number of things. First off, you have encryption codes, you have keys and ciphers that will allow you to unlock the Deep 4 module that you retrieved from the ship in the Pacific Garbage Patch. Now that object is currently in possession of Jerax, Natalie, and company who live in the secret bunker, the secret Arasaka research bunker. You have your own hideout, but in order to actually use that, you're going to need to go back to them.
One file gains access to Deep 6. Or Deep 4.
Yeah.
And that was
What?
the one that was titled D6?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you.
Among other information, you have discovered sort of a money trail linking several different corporations together. This is not a lot of new information to you. Everybody knows that these corpos are working together in tandem. You've also determined they are receiving, the reason it's called Deep 6 is because they are all receiving their orders from somebody using an encryption key labeled Deep 6. There's no identity for this person or organization, but they are issuing commands and orders to Rocklin Augmentics, to people in Continental Brands, to people at Ziggurat, who manages the internet around here, to people at WorldSat, which is how this whole adventure began. WorldSat tried to tear down the apartment that everyone lived in. They've got people at Biotechnica. They've got people at Petrochem. They've got people in local government. There are some military access codes from the local Combined Operations Group. And these orders are being distributed from this unknown encrypted source that is just active on the data pool. It sometimes sends in via radio transmissions. The actual source of these transmissions is completely anonymous. And they are sending orders to each of these different groups, and they're largely being kept in the dark from each other. But you are able to start putting together a few patterns. You have deduction as a skill.
Let me check. I'm writing a lot of notes. I do not.
Okay. You might want somebody else to help you look through this in order to draw some connections on the business side, on the
Yeah, I just kind
deductive
of wanted to
side.
make some money. I didn't expect to find all this. I need to wrangle in the crew.
I mean, you were able to make some cash, but this goes a little deeper.
I have deduction.
So do I.
Also,
Wait, we all got deduction.
Okay,
Also-
perfect.
You probably should take a few days off to heal.
Yeah. I'm a little
Alright.
brain fried.
You're going to need to take at least 3 of those days to sell the data, which leaves you with, and then 1 day to go through all the information. That leaves you with 3 days to heal. Healing on your own, just by resting, you heal your body score each day. Is that enough to get you to a place where you're happy or no?
I was at 21. My body score is 4. 3 days would give me 12 points, which is pretty good. It's not full, but it's 33 out of 35, so I'll take it.
Okay. 33 out of 35. Yeah, that's totally reasonable. All right, go ahead and heal that up. And then the team has the magical glowing metal egg of secrets and mystery, and they have the skills, including Zara has the skills and the context to help you make sense of this paper trail.
All right. And that was both folders or both files that I found?
Hmm.
Okay, cool. Fantastic. Thank you very much. I don't know if I have kind of like a Powerpuff Girls phone that calls the crew up, or if we can just text each other, but the
You
mayor
can get
needs
in the group
help.
text. I'm sure they
Okay.
have they've got a group text that's just them, but then they've got a group text that also includes you.
Every once in a while, we put the wrong meme in it, and you just get like a weird chin up photo of my face. Like,
Hey, gang. Hope everyone's having a good time. Not too hungover after that party. We should get together soon. Smiley face.
Natalie thinks this is an invitation to hang out with the girls, and she's like, "Yes, absolutely. Oh my god, I am free like Monday to any day this week. Honestly, I could take off. I have a bunch of vacation days whenever you're feeling like it." Lots of exclamation points and a smiley, and then like another text with like more smileys.
Miss Frizz sends a text to only Jerax and to Zara and is like, "Yikes, am I right?" And then goes back to the main group chat and is like, "Yeah, totally. That's gonna be super cool."
Is that what you do in group chats?
Well, Natalie's usually like that. It's like, this is actually just a regular occurrence in the group chat. A lot of enthusiasm.
Zara just sends a one word, sure.
I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm down.
You don't even say
Yes.
anything. You just thumbs up the message.
Classic.
My place or yours? Question mark.
I think I would want to double check that our place wasn't under threat before we met up here.
All right, I'm by the power invested in me. I'm gonna do an electronic and security check from Jim Finger's character sheet.
Ooh.
Is that allowed?
I don't think one is very good here.
Yep, everything's completely safe. Not a single thing to worry about. You should all be fine. Everything's fine. Yep.
Okay.
If Jim says it, then it must be right.
Uh-huh.
true.
Yeah, I'm sure he's done a very thorough process of elimination.
All right. Well, I guess Miss Frizz is gonna head out and bring the files with her, and she has her backups at home as well. I'm sure at home she has like a heavily encrypted one of those cool server racks where they're like secure, no hackers can get into here. One of those.
In the cage with a Faraday cage around it,
Exactly.
and an EMP built in case somebody triggers the, and then
Yeah,
a secret
inside a really
offsite.
dingy apartment that has like no furniture whatsoever, but like an old ramen bowl and like this really high tech server rack.
Rate my setup.
Yeah, exactly.
Gamer living spaces. All right. So I don't know. I know Zara's never been to the secret bunker. What about the rest? Has the Frizz been to the secret bunker?
Yeah, I mean, wait.
Was that?
Yeah.
Was that
I
where
mean-
the bomb was?
Well, you were at that's where the nuke was, but I don't think you knew that there was also more to it.
No.
And we're all gonna have to meet up offsite for coffee, and then get blindfolded and come in the chain behind Jonah, who also doesn't know where the bunker is.
Yeah.
All right.
I think, I think we should also, we should take precautions in terms of. Here's but if we all meet up, that's like really sus. We're just all meeting up at a coffee shop. If they're tracking one of us, they're like, wait, why are they all meeting? Oh, wait, what's all this? Why are they heading to rubble?
Oh, they're gonna blindfold a daisy chain. Where are they going?
Yeah, I don't know.
How
if
do I
Jax
get
would think
invited to that
hard.
party?
Yeah, I don't know if Jax would think that hard about it. I mean, yeah, I think, yeah, meeting up for coffee, I guess, and then we just go to the secret bunker.
I don't think we should meet up for coffee. I think we should go to a park. Because coffee has like Wi-Fi, right? Like people just randomly walk to a park, but all of us sitting together, I think
with
that's
the
a bit
newspaper
more.
and
Yeah,
sunglasses
yeah.
at the bench.
Yeah, Exactly.
Just like the 5 of us on a bench in sunglasses, just not looking at each other.
Like, look, one of you has to sit on the bench on the other side, all right? I don't care who does it, but somebody has to.
Jonah, just
Yeah, I'm down for this idea.
All
So
right.
it's the 4 of you on one side and just Jonah filling up the whole bench on the other side with this enormous newspaper.
I'm down for this. Yeah, we meet up at the park beforehand. But we make sure not to look at each other at all, and we all
So-
wear sunglasses and carry newspapers.
To give a
Oh, sorry.
little context, since Zara hasn't been to the former apartment at all. This is on the edge of the combat zone. This is in a bad part of town. The heart of Night City was destroyed by a small nuclear device 22 years ago, and that created what's called the Red Zone, which is mostly not radioactive anymore. Mostly. But it's just like practically walled off Escape from New York, Arkham City style. People do not go there unless they are absolutely destitute, desperate, or they're a member of one of the combat gangs or the cyber psychos or the scavengers who pick through the glowing ruins. They're just outside of that is where this place is. So yeah, you go down to a park in this part of town. And sure, I'm sure it was a park at one point, but now it's more of a junkyard / encampment. There are, drug deals going on practically in plain sight nearby. People selling synth coke to each other. There's just things on fire, but it's not there's a fight on fire. It's just normal that it's on fire. Don't worry about that. You've got various gangs walking around, clearly wearing their different combat gang colors as they go by. And yeah, so you sit down at the
feel
park.
like it would be really like it. I don't know. You're a combat gang and you're hanging out in this park, and you just see 5 people wearing long coats, fedoras, and sunglasses, holding newspapers, just kind of like walking around but not looking at each other. I would stay away from those people.
Those are the 5 scariest people at the park.
Yeah, those are the people you're like, wait, what?
I killed like 3 dudes last week, but I got a bad feeling about that crowd. I'm not hanging out with them. All right.
So yeah, I think we would meet up and then we would work out a system to go to the old apartment from the park once we had shared information. Presumably we're all like, we're telling Zara there's a big scoop that we're working on. We need Zara's help, your skills and deduction for figuring this out, to piece it together.
Mm-hmm.
And it's bigger than you think. This thing goes all the way to the tippity top, to Tokyo, the back. We might have to make a trip to Tokyo at some point. I'm gonna specify that as well at the park. Like, I don't know how good your Japanese is, but we're all pretty set on going to Tokyo. Don't know why. You all are. We decided in the boat ride. And yeah, I think we would try and come to that conclusion and probably try and work out the rest at the hideout, I guess.
That sound
Zara's
good,
like
Zara?
all in on this. At this point, she sees the dollar signs already, like the dollar signs popping out of the eyeballs, and she's like, I'm here. Let's go take them down.
Perfect. It just occurred to me, if anybody is sitting on a pile of skill points, of improvement points, language. You can pick up one rank in a language for pretty cheap.
Wait, really?
Yeah, it's an intelligence-based skill.
Oh.
And it's not a difficult skill. Because I'll tell you, that digital owl in the dark future is really aggressive. You will learn one way or another.
Yeah.
It's gained sentience. It's taken over all the birds because birds
to,
are
like,
robots.
Hand over your cybernetic vital functions to it beforehand, and it has full control over the cybernetics and your bank account.
Because I'm so hungry, I want to eat. First, tell me the word for eat in Japanese. All right. So, blindfolds, shifty looks left and right, people in trench coats and fedoras in the park. Those of you who are blindfolded are walked to at least like half a mile's distance, I think. You have to step over different pieces of debris. You end up climbing down a ladder. You hear scraping like a manhole cover on a sewer grate just got moved. You are walking through dismal tunnels. The air down here is sticky and cold. You end up sloshing at certain points. It smells bad, but not that bad. So hopefully you won't have to buy a new pair of boots. You're not totally sure at this point. The journey, you must go down at least like 200, 300 feet below the surface of the streets
Whoa.
before you're finally brought to a point where you're able to, where they're going to remove the blindfold. Let me pick PowerPoint room.
Ah, yes.
All right, I'll drop you in the PowerPoint room.
It's like, please ignore the robot that's screaming to get out.
Yeah, you actually, as you're walking around, you hear these heavy metal footsteps. Let me out. Let me out.
What is that? Is that
That's just a Chiro.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Just gonna let Natalie handle this. I don't know how to describe this situation.
should
Oh, we took its arms off and knocked it over, and now it's stuck laying down forever, like consciousness trapped in a cold metallic void. But we mostly just leave him in the hallway. Don't go in that hallway. You're actually not allowed to leave this room. Natalie leans against the door.
Okay. That's good.
You are in a metal room, clearly deep underground, artificial lighting overhead, rows and rows of couches and chairs in front of a big old smart TV, big old smart screen.
I'm gonna use the obvious Bluetooth function of my cyber deck and put a chip in and project onto, or put onto the screen, the file that I found, and say that it looks like Deep Six is not just a collective of individuals. No, it's a government. It's someone that is calling the shots, pulling the strings on all of these people here, and it's like shows a list of, everyone that you said, from local government to Petrochem to WorldSat, Rockland, all these different names. But I don't know if it's an individual or if it's a group of individuals that go by Deep Six. But yeah, there definitely seems to be some kind of connection going on.
Just to recap this, because I feel like I'm missing details. We have Deep 4. We have a container that is Deep 4.
Well, do we have that with us, by the way?
Yes, it is being stored down here. It's 300 pounds, but you've got enough people down here / Jonah that you can move it around. And it has an access panel. It has like its own control mechanism on it. The first time you tried to crack it, you could tell not only was it heavily encrypted, but it also had all kinds of countermeasures where if you logged in 10 times and failed, it would explode.
Right. Well, this is one half of the information we got. And this is the other half. And she holds up her little file. And I think this should get us in to Deep 6, or Deep 4, as a code of Deep 6.
But Deep 6 is someone who is organizing these companies.
Yes.
Okay. So I need like a flow chart of how this connects.
Do you want me to put up a conspiracy screen for you guys to draw on? Would that help?
I don't.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my
okay.
God.
Okay, let me bring up the conspiracy board.
Oh, I like that. Good.
Ah, yes.
The prior notes. We could probably lose those.
Hasn't been updated for a while.
Is Double or Nothing's not dead. Is Royal
Correct.
dead? I think Royal's dead.
Royal is dead.
Yeah. Oh, actually, I've got his arms.
Yes, you do have his arms.
I do have his arms.
They're in storage.
Yeah. So this all began because WorldSat wanted to buy out the apartment building we were staying in, which is here, to get access to what they thought was a database. And what it actually was a bomb. It was the nuclear device, the second one. And
But
it
the
wasn't the database they were
Arasaka-
looking for.
The Arasaka database might still exist. We just found the bomb.
Yeah. So thereafter, this is hard to piece together, to be honest.
It is quite confusing.
I wonder what they're looking for, though, because we have Deep 4, which is this giant container of information and data, and the only reason we got it was because we promised that it would get to Arasaka, I think. I think we promised that to the people on the ship, right?
That
Anyone?
we'd
You
take
might-
it to Arasaka. We promised that we'd come back and we'd save them, and then we'd
Yeah.
tell their families in Japan that they.
But I remember I
existed and
lied to
sacrificed.
them. I lied to them. I said that we
Yeah,
were
that whole
actually
thing
sent,
was the lie.
we were
Wait,
sent,
you
I
made a
remember
promise to a bunch of people stuck on a ship?
No, we say people.
Well-
They were in the computer.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean,
Zara's just sitting here like,
What the?
yeah, I'm trying to get like a timeline to help Zara understand, but I can't even understand it myself. It's so complicated. Yeah, we know that the corporations are working together under some mega conspiracy. It's related to the concept of creating an engram of your mind, which Arasaka was working on, but I believe a lot of the information and research has been lost because of the Fourth Corporate War. There may be some information on that in Deep 4, which is a device we have that we got from a ship in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. And the only way I got that was by pretending to be an elite security unit member hired by Arasaka to obtain it. And then they let me get it. And I also kind of made a promise to save them, but they're not actually alive anymore. Their bodies are dead, but their minds are stored inside the ship in like a low energy mode. And it's also sunk to the bottom of the ocean. And now we've got Deep 6, and I don't know why we've got Deep 6, but it's related. I think it's going to help us get into Deep 4.
Yes.
And maybe then we'll know what we're doing.
Which does raise a bit of a nomenclature issue, Natalie volunteers, that Deep 4 appears to be a 300-pound metal tic-tac, while Deep 6 we are to believe is some sort of person or entity.
It's a human.
Well, there's 2 Deep 6s. There's Deep
What?
6, the entity, and then there's Deep 6, this file that I have that should give us hopefully some level of access to whatever is in Deep 4.
Maybe all of the Deeps are different individuals that have been encoded. Like they've had an engram made of them, and they're individuals.
Maybe.
And then
Quick,
Deep
what's
6...
the story to Kingdom Hearts? I feel like this sounds familiar.
Right. But if Deep 6 is the one who's like ordering them, and we have Deep 4 here, and it's a bunch of data, and this is all related to putting human minds into machines in the first place, then maybe what we're dealing with in Deep 4 is a human mind.
We could ask the tic-tac!
Okay.
Yeah, but we need to figure out a way to put the Tic Tac into another body. So we need to find bodies to do that in the first place.
Well-
This is getting too confusing.
We could send...
you have not
Computer
actually
lady in
turned
to talk
Deep
to the
4
Tic-Tac.
on.
Yeah, we
You've
don't know
not
what
activated
Deep 4
it
is.
because when you
We
tried
don't
to
know what it
activate
is.
it, it was full of this will self-destruct stuff. You looted from Liam Madris's computer the information that you need to bypass those security blocks. You have the
So it
ability
makes-
to turn the damn thing on now if you want.
I say we do it.
So I would turn to Zara and be like, any questions? Bearing in mind, I won't be able to answer them.
I think I've got it. I think we're getting somewhere with
Does this storyboard help as I point towards our storyboard where it says fuck Todd and AD and somehow the Bozo Clown group is crossed out?
what? Can we look at those files more closely? Is there anything else that we can ascertain from the files before trying to open up this big metal tic-tac, as Natalie puts it?
So, Kelly, if you give people access to the files, they can use whatever skills are at their disposal. Because again, this is a list of orders, budget items, and communications between all these different groups. A lot of different documents, emails, attachments, so on and so forth. So
if I give this to them, it devalues this folder, this file that I have. So I can't really give you a copy, especially someone like you who's going to put in an expose and then it's going to be valueless to me. I'll show it to you, but kind of on my phone, and I hold my phone and I'm like, don't touch it. And then I'll show it to you that way. But yeah, I want
fair.
to let her see it.
Okay. Zara, make a deduction check. It's going to be a pretty steep penalty because you can't really organize the information. You're just watching it at the speed that it's being scrolled.
Ooh.
Okay, a 16, that's not bad. All right. There's a lot of communication between these companies. Now, these are big corporations. Several of them should be competing with each other,
Hmm.
which is a little bit odd. D6, it shows up in the budget for certain companies and certain projects. WorldSat, the communication company, had a D6 line item when they hired Militech goons to try to take over the apartment complex. They claimed they were going to build a communication tower there. Really, they were trying to find this device underneath it. So D6 showed up in their budget. D6 also showed up in Continental Brand's budget. They were making a bunch of faulty condoms and siphoning all the money away that they saved on, shirking on materials and such over into this black item on their budget list that just sort of vanished away. So whoever D6 is, they were pulling money from this project and using it to fund things like the takeover of the apartment. They've also got people at Biotechnica. They are paying off some people in the military. You're starting, like, the first thing you see is just the money trail. So they're harvesting money, they're redistributing it on all these little projects and trying to figure out the purpose of these projects. They've been tracking the routes of the nomads. Remember a few episodes, like last season, I think, some of you folks found a lot of information about the nomads, the people who transport goods and services across the wastelands. Well, these people have been monitoring all those routes, the most important supply routes, the ones that are the most vital to bringing supplies in and out of Night City and other locations. They've been tracking important supply routes along the ocean, where some of the ocean nomads do a lot of their transport. They've been tracking a lot of information about which of those are the most vital supply chains, which of those the US government and the Pacifica Confederation, which is this independent government on the West Coast, what do they rely on? What are their arteries? What is the most vital to their success? They've been tracking politicians, they've been tracking lobbyists, they've been looking at laws that have to do with regulating corporate control and corporate authority in the independent zone of Night City and elsewhere.
Is there any information about Deep 4 in there as to what could potentially wake up and what could be in the pod? Because right now it seems that we are learning a lot about Deep 6, the entity or individual, but not about this mechanical tic-tac.
Roll a library search. Check.
Yeah. 16.
16. Okay, Deep 4 only recently showed up in chat logs.
How recently?
Roughly the time that you guys were attacked by Carlisle's gyrocopters.
Okay.
It seems like Deep 4 wasn't even on their radar or wasn't in their recent memory until you guys went out there and Carlisle tracked you out to the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. You also find out somebody tipped off Carlisle and company about Jerax. They did that after they were thwarted when they tried to get the Arasaka device. Carlisle works for a corporation and a crime group that sort of work together. They had no information whatsoever about Jerax and about Sean until you guys messed with the conspiracy in phase 1. Somebody tipped them off.
Right. So they have been using my prior what do you call it? I don't know, the prior anime arc of Jerax, where we went to war against these crime organizations by stealing all the stuff, and they had no idea that I was over here, but they got tipped off by presumably Deep 6 because we've been messing with it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm starting to get a good feel for what this is about, kind of. I think here's what Jerax thinks. Jerax thinks that if it logically follows that if Deep 4 is a bunch of data, and this is all related to like the Soul Killer program of Arasaka, that maybe all these deep programs are actual like human minds, or maybe rogue AIs or something along those lines. And if Deep 6 is an entity that's pulling the strings of all these things to try and they're trying to like get information and data from Deep 4, and they're trying to look for the Arasaka database, which again relates to Soul Killer. It would imply that if Deep 6 is something similar to Deep 4, a giant silver tic tac, that may or may not have a human mind in it. Maybe they're trying to figure out a way to get back into the real world, and they're just pulling the strings from behind the scenes. That's my inclination so far of this, because it seems like they're doing everything from the shadows, but maybe they're forced to do everything from the shadows. Maybe they're forced to pull the strings of all these corporations, so that because they can't actually act on this themselves.
Natalie's like nodding along. Yeah, she's on board with this.
Well, there's one way to find more information. Let's see what's in this bad boy.
Does anyone have any questions, or is there anything you'd like to do with the data before we fire up Deep 4?
I did want to look through the data really quick and just see if I could pull any information with all these corporations like talking to Deep 6 and like back and forth, if there's any sense of like a hierarchy of the corporations, and if there's any sense of the kind of weird to say, but like the nationality of Deep 6. Like, are you getting any sort of like patterns of honorifics in their conversation or something that would be like, it's Arasaka?
Okay.
Or...
Roll a business check or a bureaucracy check, unless you have something else you're looking for here.
Let's do... Yeah, business.
Holy
24.
moly.
Communications are always geared to their target audience. Every time that they interact with a company, they are like focus grouped, zeroed in on the best way to interact with that company from that, even that part of the US. Like Network 54 is based in Oklahoma, I think. Petrochem is based in Dallas.
That explains all the y'alls in the
Exactly. It's like they use, it's added to all the emails. So there doesn't appear to be a hierarchy. Whoever is pulling the strings behind everybody is equal opportunity.
And is it more that this Deep 6 is ordering them to do things, or is it conversational between the entities in Deep 6, or is it like marketing, or what does it look like?
You got a 24 on your business check. You know what this actually looks like? Lobbying. More than anything else, it looks like lobbying. Like, a lot of what they're tracking, the information that they're tracking, is on people in positions of power and what matters to them. People who have influence over legislation that controls corporate interests. After the Fourth Corporate War, when Arasaka and Militech basically ruined the world governments kind of said enough is enough. That the Japanese government took over, or they put severe penalties on Arasaka. The US government nationalized Militech. Night City is in a position where the megacorps have to play by Night City's rules, not the other way around. They've got powerful friends willing to smack around the corpos if they get out of line. So what you're seeing here, all this information that's flowing in, has to do with, okay, what nomad routes do the governments care about? What nomad routes do they rely on? Where are the weak points of those routes? What are their personal interests? Who are the people in positions of power around them? That's seems to be the pattern that you're seeing in all this business communication. Deep 6, whoever Deep 6 is, they are having individual communications with different corporations. Liam is in a unique position. Liam has a lot more information than any of these people. He sees a lot of the back and forth, but for a lot of these corporations, they're just sort of in one-on-one contact with Deep 6 or a Deep 6 representative. And then that's going through a central channel and it's being routed out to everybody else. So they kind of know who else is in on it, or elements within each corporation know. It's not like all of Continental Brands is in on this, right? It's only a few people in positions of power are secretly following orders from Deep 6, and those orders are being relayed through other companies. And they're all acting in tangent together.
So what Natalie then relates to the rest of the group after kind of looking at the documents herself is like, whoever Deep 6 is, they're trying really hard to be persuasive. They really want whatever this is to happen.
But we don't know why, and we don't know what will happen.
But at least we know they're not in a position to force him to do it, I think.
All right. That's good. Maybe.
I think the only way we learn more is by opening up Deep 4. And if there's a human in here, I'm starting to get worried.
am mad Liam got away.
Oh, sure. There's always a second chance, right?
Liam's gonna be in this pod. Just the way you
So-
said it, Joseph.
One thing I should note, and this is something that Necro may not be aware of, depending on how much Cyberpunk 2077 you've played. In the world of Cyberpunk, there is a computer program called Soul Killer, and it can, if you're connected to a computer system, Soul Killer can download and copy your personality and digitize you. That process kills the human involved. And nobody has ever successfully moved one of these digitized consciousness from a computer back into a human being. That has never been done so far. So when they talk about that's a person in there, it usually means somebody who got soul killed.
Makes sense.
When you say the person's body dies, is it like they're in a vegetative state, or like it like goes into cardiac arrest?
I don't know if the lore specifies, but I'm going to say it essentially causes brain death. Like they're in a vegetative state. Sean Ashwater, Jarek's brother, was on a net running job for Jim Fingers in the hot zone. And he logged into a server to get its secrets, and that server had Soul Killer on it. And it fried him, it burned him out, but his body is still alive in cryostasis down here where you guys are right now, though he may not have shared that information with all of you.
Okay, so with that hope, possibly you could put his memory back into his body.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Well, let's find out. Boop.
Yeah, I want to crack open Deep 4. I feel like this
Okay.
has been 3 seasons worth trying to get to this point.
Okay, so Frizz, what do you do?
Is it possible, like if I have like the proper splitter, that Jarek's and I can connect together?
Interface does not seem to be designed for you to net run into it. You could crack it open and do that, but it has an actual built-in panel that is designed to be a user interface.
Ooh.
So you can, run. You can go on a run into this, or you can just turn it
No.
on and use the touchscreen.
Let's go old school. Yeah. Bringing it back like it's the 1990s. She wants to touchscreen it.
All right. You run the executable, use the encryption codes that are in the file. Everyone's sort of crowded around the giant metal tic tac, hoping that this one is not also a thermonuclear bomb, because the last time that happened, it caused a lot of trouble. You crack into it, and you see sort of a spinning, buffering wheel on a blue screen. It's very the UI here is very end user friendly. This was clearly somebody with a lot of UX skill designed this thing. So it spins, and there's a smiling face on it, and it says, "Welcome, setting up. Just a few more steps.
Hmm.
I am unable to access the local net. Please check your net connection." And there's an option to connect to the net and continue without network access.
Do we have a local net here?
Oh, I always
Um,
carry a 300-foot Ethernet cable with me.
Do we want to
So-
connect it to the net, everybody?
This is
Natalie says-
pre-war tech. This was built when the internet had not been taken over by rabid viruses.
Yeah. Do we have
Um,
like a local area network here that we know is not... Wait, I think it is compromised, actually.
Yeah, you connected once. It was an old school network, and it was full of rabids.
Yeah, I don't think we should connect it to the local network.
Can we continue forward without connecting to the local area network?
There is a button that does that if you want to press it.
Oh, man. Yeah, I guess we'll do that
Sure.
first.
All right. It spins for a moment, and then a bunch of tiles pop up for language selection. Japanese is the first one. English is the second.
Mm.
So it's an Arasaka piece of equipment. Potentially.
Maybe.
Natalie
I mean-
readies her agent to trade.
No, well, I mean, we'll select English. We'll
What
select
are those
English.
active translators? Should English?
Yeah,
Natalie puts
yeah.
away her translator.
Okay.
Aw. Please select your region.
I always prefer it in the original Japanese, she says to herself.
Dubs over subs.
Controversial.
Region?
So began the Holy War.
What does it want by region? What options do we have?
It's got a drop down with like countries and time zones in it.
Wait, have we just like? Is this just a computer? Is this just we've unlocked a Windows 7 PC? Is that it? Is that what's going on? What is this? I mean, yeah, I guess we'll select our current time zone and region.
GMT
How
time?
How specific do you want to be? Because you can select the time zone, you can also enter like city, country, etc.
Well, I mean, I see
do
no
you guys-
reason to lie to this ominous silver tic tac.
Natalie says, I've never been on the internet, but my mom always said never to give your information away to strangers.
I feel like we should not give all of our information out, but saying that we're in Night City could be dangerous.
Let's Skitty, what up?
Let's
Maybe
say,
we give it Tokyo time, so it thinks it's home.
Okay.
could this backfire? I don't even know.
I don't know.
It's Tokyo time.
Okay.
This is unknown information. I have to find out what's in this Jerax. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Let's get to know each other. What is your occupation?
Wait, it's actually asking this?
Yes.
Are you a boy or a girl?
Is it again a drop-down menu, or is it something that we have to type out?
You type it in and it sort of like tries to select from some pre-selected options, but you can type it in custom as well.
Whose information is getting filled?
We all look at Jonah.
Yeah. I mean, Jax will fill in his information. There's nothing it can do with it, though. That's like, I don't think there's anything malicious it could do with it.
What
As
if-
Joe smirks?
This is something that was created a long time ago, so maybe it needs a name that is associated with Arasaka from before the corporate war.
We still have our ID passes that Miss Frizz made us, right?
Can I put in my occupation as like cybertech / surgeon specialist?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And it's smart enough tech that you can type it in custom and it'll like look at that and say, oh, okay, here's some topics that might be interesting, so it can customize your advertising. Last, let's enter some demographic information. Which of the best following describes you? And it's got areas for age, ethnicity, income bracket, political affiliation, just like a whole setup like that.
I think we might be creating something right now.
Am I signing up for some spam list?
Like an AdSense profile?
But there's no internet that exists. I don't know. I mean, I would
think this is for an app, but
I would
wanna-
fill in
I want to.
my.
Okay. Fill it in
Would
for
you?
Jared.
What do you want to fill in fake stuff?
I was gonna say we do something fake, but I think actually basing it off of someone might give us a better direction and might give us a
Yeah.
better like study case. So let's fill in your information.
That's what I was thinking.
So,
Jax
old are
isn't really
you?
thinking of the negative implications of it. How old is
Are you
Jax?
19? Are you 35? I
he's
can't really tell. You look
think he's
young and old.
I think he's 28.
I have this. Give me a sec.
Is he
I took
28?
really good notes in episode 0.
Natalie's also writing down whatever we put into the fake profile in case we have to redo our lies later.
Good, good.
Jerax
But she's
is
not actually.
33.
Oh, 33.
Ancient.
Okay.
Oh.
Did you just say ancient? Yeah. Okay. I mean, yeah, Jerax would fill in his truthful information. Yeah, and I agree with Miss Frizz's judgment. I think that maybe filling it in truthfully would give us some lead.
All right, you entered all that in? Thank you. I'm excited to meet you. Please select the voice that would best serve you.
Oh, and we are creating something, and we're not creating a program, guys. I think we're creating a person? Maybe?
I don't know what this is. The voice? What options do we have?
There's no options listed. It's a open field.
Natalie goes, pick a boy voice!
Oh, what about Australia, mate? And she makes a really offensive voice. Like it's not very good whatsoever.
Let's go with Joe, where are you from?
California, Southern
Okay.
California.
Yeah, let's go. Go for a let's go for a 1990 Southern California dialect.
Thank you, Bren. Thank you. Did you select River Dwarf?
No. What? What is
No,
wrong?
I'm kidding. That didn't happen.
Okay.
Excellent. One moment, please. And it spins for a moment, and the panel retracts, and a lens appears, and a holographic display starts to emerge from the device. And we'll come back in about 6 minutes. Don't go
my
anywhere,
God.
folks. Stay with us.